For millions of Americans, the middle-class dream is quietly slipping away. Buying a home, saving for retirement, or simply getting ahead now feels harder than ever, even for families with good jobs. So it's no surprise that more people are asking the same question: is there a better place to build a future? The answer is yes, but probably not where you'd expect. While many countries are becoming more expensive, a handful still offer something that's getting harder to find: affordable homes, lower everyday costs, real economic opportunity, and an excellent quality of life. In today's video, I'll reveal 7 countries where the middle class can still thrive in 2026. And be sure to stay until the end, because the country at number 1 isn't the one most people expect, and it may completely change the way you think about where your future belongs. Starting at number 7, Malaysia. Imagine living in a country where gleaming skyscrapers rise beside rainforests older than most civilizations, and your salary still leaves you with money to spare at the end of the month. This is Malaysia, a country that has quietly built one of the most balanced economies in Southeast Asia. One of its greatest strengths is the relationship between wages and prices: reasonable rents, cheap groceries, and everyday services that don't drain your bank account the way they do in neighboring Singapore. A single person can live comfortably on around $600 a month, excluding rent, while a one-bedroom apartment typically runs between $300 and $500. Healthcare here is another major advantage. Private hospitals in Kuala Lumpur rival anything found in Europe or America, yet cost a fraction of the price, which has made Malaysia one of Asia's leading medical tourism destinations, drawing patients from around the region who fly in specifically for procedures that would cost several times more back home. Public transportation is modern, the internet is fast, and English is spoken everywhere in business and daily life, so adapting here feels almost effortless for newcomers. Crime rates stay low, and the weather remains warm all year round, so there's no harsh winter to plan a life around. Kuala Lumpur suits those who want city energy and world-class hospitals close by, while Penang offers a slower island rhythm and a food scene, a mix of Malay, Chinese, and Indian cooking that draws visitors from around the world. Homeownership remains genuinely realistic here too, and long-term residency is available through renewable visa programs that make settling in for good a straightforward process rather than an endless bureaucratic maze. The program is called Malaysia My Second Home, and it grants a renewable long-stay visa that can run for years at a time, giving families a real sense of permanence instead of constantly renewing short-term paperwork. Number 6, Spain. Spain is famous for its beaches and warm climate, but one of its greatest strengths receives far less attention: the quality of life it offers its middle class. The numbers tell a compelling story. Public healthcare here ranks among the best in the entire world. University education stays affordable, and the overall cost of living remains gentle compared to France, Germany, or the UK. A single person spends around $900 a month before rent. And while Madrid and Barcelona have grown noticeably pricier over the last decade, cities like Valencia and Malaga offer the exact same healthcare, the exact same free education, and a much lighter cost of living for anyone willing to skip the 2 biggest capitals. Spanish culture treats rest as a right rather than a luxury, with long lunches, evening walks, and a daily schedule that doesn't swallow every waking hour the way it does in busier economies further north. Homeownership remains common here too, supported by a banking system that hasn't turned mortgages into a product reserved for the wealthy. Valencia combines modern city life with charming beaches at a lower cost than the capital, while Malaga offers year-round sunshine, deeply historic streets, and one of the largest foreign communities in southern Europe, the kind of place where you'll hear 4 or 5 languages in a single afternoon at the local market. What Spain proves is simple, but often forgotten in richer, faster-moving economies. A slower pace of life and a modest salary can deliver a higher quality of life than a bigger paycheck that leaves little time to enjoy it. Most retirees and relocating professionals settle in through the non-lucrative visa, which starts as a 1-year residency, extends to 2, and becomes permanent after 5 years of steady, uninterrupted living in the country. Number 5, Portugal. In a world where every major city seems to be getting faster and more expensive, Portugal has quietly protected something many countries have lost: the ability to live well without constantly chasing more. Walk through a small Portuguese town on a weekday afternoon and the difference becomes obvious. Cafes remain full, neighbors stop to talk in the street, and daily life moves at a pace that feels almost unfamiliar in modern economies. This slower rhythm is not the result of being left behind. It comes from a different balance between work, cost, and quality of life. Portugal has built one of Europe's most accessible public healthcare systems while maintaining a cost of living far below major cities like London and Paris. For many residents, everyday expenses remain manageable enough that an average income can support more than just basic survival. A single person can often live on around $900 per month before rent, while a one-bedroom apartment typically costs between $500 and $900 depending on the location. Lisbon has changed significantly in recent years. International buyers and remote workers pushed housing prices higher, making the capital much less affordable than it once was. But outside Lisbon, cities like Braga and Coimbra, along with towns along the Silver Coast, still offer a different reality. Lower rents, affordable groceries, safer streets, and communities where daily life remains connected. Portugal's appeal goes beyond affordability. It combines reliable public services, walkable cities, a strong sense of community, and one of the safest environments in Europe. For newcomers, the D7 visa provides a relatively accessible path to residency, requiring proof of stable income and offering a route toward permanent residency after 5 years. Portugal's success is not about becoming the richest country. It is about creating a place where ordinary people can still enjoy the value of everyday life. Number 4. The Czech Republic. Prague draws the tourists, but the real story of this country lives in cities like Brno, where a 2-bedroom apartment costs less than a parking space in Munich. The Czech Republic never experienced the runaway housing boom that hit so much of Western Europe, because wages and prices climbed together instead of one racing far ahead of the other. Average pay across skilled professions sits close to $2,200 a month, while monthly living costs, excluding rent, land around $700, a ratio that makes saving toward a home realistic rather than a distant, decade-long dream. Healthcare here costs a fraction of what people pay in Germany or France for comparable coverage, and there's a deep cultural preference for owning property outright rather than renting for life. Homes here often get passed down through families instead of being purchased fresh each generation from scratch. Public transportation runs reliably and cheaply. Crime stays low across most of the country, and the beer and food culture makes everyday socializing genuinely affordable, rather than a luxury expense reserved for special occasions. A night out with friends here rarely leaves anyone checking their bank balance the next morning. None of this shows up in glossy tourism campaigns built around Prague's old town, but it shows up clearly in homeownership statistics that quietly outperform most of wealthier Western Europe year after year. As an EU member, moving here as a European citizen requires almost no paperwork at all, and even outside applicants generally find the process refreshingly straightforward compared to the layers of bureaucracy found elsewhere on the continent. Number 3. Slovenia. Slovenia may be the most overlooked country here. Tucked between Italy, Austria, Croatia, and Hungary, it rarely attracts the same attention as its neighbors. That lack of international hype has worked in its favor. While many European capitals experience dramatic housing booms fueled by foreign investment and speculation, Slovenia largely avoided those pressures, allowing home prices to remain far more manageable. A skilled worker can earn close to $2,000 per month, while average monthly living costs are around $800, leaving enough room for savings and long-term financial security. For many families, owning a home remains a realistic goal rather than a distant dream. Even in Ljubljana, the capital, housing is considerably more affordable than in many Western European cities. Ljubljana itself reflects the country's balanced approach to urban life. Compact enough to cross on foot in under an hour, it offers tree-lined streets, riverside cafes, and public spaces that encourage a slower, more connected lifestyle instead of endless commercial development. Slovenia also provides nearly universal public health care, affordable university education for local students, and easy access to nature. Whether you prefer hiking in the Alps, swimming in alpine lakes, or exploring forests and vineyards, you're rarely more than a short drive away. Outdoor recreation is part of everyday life, rather than an occasional escape. Slovenia's success isn't built on chasing rapid growth or becoming Europe's next hotspot. Instead, it has focused on steady development, strong public services, and preserving quality of life. As a member of both the European Union and the Schengen area, it combines stability, accessibility, and affordability in a way few countries still manage today. Number 2, Finland, the happiest country on earth for years running. And once you get past the sauna culture and the usual cliches, the real reason comes down to math. Education is free from primary school through doctoral studies for those who choose to pursue them, while residents enjoy low out-of-pocket healthcare costs. Taxes are among the highest in the world, but they fund generous public services that significantly reduce everyday expenses. As a result, households often retain substantial disposable income despite the higher tax burden. Average monthly earnings are around $4,800, while living costs average about $1,300 before rent, leaving many workers with meaningful room to save after taxes and essential expenses. Helsinki isn't a cheap capital. Few Nordic cities are, but the safety net underneath every resident means a bad month never spirals into a bad decade the way it easily could elsewhere. Lose a job here, and you're not staring down eviction within weeks. Unemployment support and retraining programs step in fast enough to keep a single setback from turning into a lasting one. Parental leave isn't some policy footnote buried in fine print either. It stretches close to a full year, split between both parents, without either of them losing ground at work or falling behind in their careers, something most working parents elsewhere would consider close to unimaginable. What sets Finland apart from other high-tax countries isn't the tax rate itself, it's trust. People pay in because they've watched the system consistently deliver for their neighbors across generations, and that trust ends up being worth more to a household budget than any bracket on a pay stub. Beyond Helsinki, cities like Tampere and Turku offer that same safety net with noticeably lower living costs. Finland also runs one of the most efficient residency systems in Europe for skilled workers, with a specialist visa pathway built to get qualified professionals settled and working within months instead of years. Number 1. Uruguay. Uruguay isn't the largest country in South America, nor the richest, but it has spent decades building something many larger economies still struggle to achieve: stability, affordability, and a consistently high quality of life. While inflation and currency chaos have gutted middle classes across most of the continent over the past decade, Uruguay simply kept doing the quiet, unglamorous work of governing well, low corruption, a stable democracy, and free education all the way through university for anyone willing to put in the work. Montevideo feels closer to a mid-sized European city than a typical South American capital, with walkable streets, a functioning public bus system, and beaches that sit within city limits rather than a 2-hour drive away from everyone. A skilled worker earns around $1,400 a month, modest by global standards, but living costs scale down to match that reality, roughly $900 before rent, so the balance still favors the person cashing the paycheck rather than the landlord collecting it every month. Income inequality here runs lower than almost anywhere else in the hemisphere, and healthcare access doesn't depend on wealth, connections, or which neighborhood you happen to be born into. Punta del Este gives middle-income families beachfront access, something reserved for the wealthy almost everywhere else in the region. Uruguay isn't rich, and it never pretends to be one of the flashy economies dominating global headlines. It's stable, and in a hemisphere defined by boom and bust cycles that wreck ordinary savings overnight, that stability might be the rarest, most valuable thing a country can offer the people actually living inside it. Uruguay also keeps its residency process relatively straightforward. In many cases, demonstrating a modest, stable income is enough to qualify, with permanent residency often available after 1 to 2 years, a shorter timeline than in many other countries in the region. That's all from my side today. Before you leave, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming content. Share this with someone who is exploring life abroad or searching for a better quality of life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.